people are hopping on, I'm going to introduce myself and then also just continue to have you drop in the chat. So if you're popping on, turn your cameras on. We'd love to see your smiling faces. And we are really excited to talk to you tonight about maximizing your ketones, how to get the most out of your ketone experience. And what does that look like? What does that mean? What other products might we have, but do we have that support your experience? And you're dropping in the chat that little circle bubble, cloud bubble at the bottom, where you're watching from and how long you've been drinking ketones if you're already drinking them, or maybe you just have a trial pack and you're getting started and someone invited you to this call. So I'm Christina Martinez-Williams. I live in Fort Washington, Maryland, and I'm a mom of two little girls who are 9 and 7.5, and I'm married, and I've been drinking ketones for 7 years now and sharing them for 5.5. And when I got started, my little girls that are that old now were only 8 months old and 2 years old. So I got started drinking ketones for the fat loss because people were asking me if I was pregnant when I was 8 months postpartum. And now they ask me if I do CrossFit, and I don't. And I was not pregnant at that time. So ketones have completely shifted my health. I'm 34 pounds lighter of fat and 10 to 12 pant sizes that have been maintained and have added lean toned muscle from doing the reboot, which I'm sure we'll mention. And that has shifted my lean toned muscles. The reboot process has done that about 55, 56 times now. And this whole journey is something that has not only shifted my health, but also the health of my husband, of my parents who are 70 and 73, and then of my little girls as well. So I'm excited to introduce you to my brother, who I'm sure you've all potentially seen and know, Nick Martinez. And I'm going to go back and forth just asking him a bunch of questions about how to utilize our products, how to best maximize our use of them and optimize them. And I am going to pass it to him. Hey, Nick.
What's up? How's it going?
Good.
Good to see all your faces. I'm really excited for this Zoom. We do this a couple times a month, really just to support our community and our customers of how to get more out of what they're drinking. Because it's one thing to just go through the motions and drink it every day. It's another thing to really optimize your own performance. And I don't know if you heard it when Christina just said, I've done the reboot. How many times did you say? 55 or 57 times? Part of what you're going to hear tonight is if you're consistent over time, it's inevitable that you're going to experience the best health of your life. I'm just going to put it out there. If you're consistent over time and follow what you learn as part of our community, some of the stuff that I'm going to share tonight, it's inevitable that you will create the best health of your life. And the only difference between maybe Christina and her position where she is today versus maybe you or maybe somebody that's just beginning the journey is consistency over time of utilizing products, of utilizing our programs, and of being smart about, okay, how does my body work? What foods are great for my body? What foods aren't so great for my body? So I'm excited tonight. We're going to do kind of a Q&A style. I think Christina has a whole bunch of questions written out that are probably pretty common for you guys, but we'll also keep an eye on the chat. And if you guys have things that you're like, well, what about this or what about that? Please feel free to ask. Christina's going to look at those. And towards the end, if we haven't covered everything, we'll be sure to get to those questions and have some fun in the process. So I didn't introduce myself, though. I've been doing this now for 8 years. I was introduced to this by a flight attendant when I was first started drinking ketones. My story isn't necessarily a fat loss story. I lost about 10, 12 pounds. But since I got to my lowest weight, I've gained 30 pounds. So literally it took me, I don't know, a couple months. I dropped a little bit of body fat, which is great. But since then, I'm 30 pounds heavier than I was, but I'm leaner than I was when I started, meaning I have more lean muscle mass, I'm in a better metabolic state, and I'm healthier. So that's kind of what I'm after: longevity, feeling better, aging well. And that's really what these products do. So I started sharing with pilots I was flying with, flight attendants that I used to work with. I used to be a full-time airline pilot with Delta. My kids were 2 and 0. Didn't exist yet. And now they're 10 and 7. So it's been a lot of fun. So Christina, without taking up any more time, what do you got? What kind of questions do you have?
All right. Well, my first question is, what's the best way for a brand new person to start?
Best way to start is just start, meaning rip this open, pour it into ice and water. Honestly, I didn't have a shaker bottle when I started. Sometimes I put it in a glass and I stirred it with the spoon. It doesn't matter. You can't screw it up. Shake it, drink it over 20 to 30 minutes. And guess what? You can test your blood, your urine, you're in a state of ketosis. If you're asking for, if it like that, you can't screw it up. I really want to say that, like, you just can't mess it up. Just drink it. Don't overthink it. Drink it. Should I take it with food, Nick? I don't care. Drink it with lunch or drink it before dinner. Should I take it on an empty stomach? Sure, if you want to. Should I take it as part of my fast? Absolutely. We're going to talk about some ways to optimize it. But if you're just getting started, don't mess up good for perfect. Just drink it.
Awesome. And would you say, so I know when I go to the website, I see a ton of different things, and sometimes the quantity of that can be confusing about where to start with what I'm looking at. How would you direct people of how to navigate what they're looking at and where to start with that? If they haven't fully gotten some kind of systems of anything, where would you say to go to start?
Great question. The number one hero product to prove it is Ketonat. So this is an everyday thing. This is what I have every single day. I've not been a day without it in 8 years. So drink this once a day or twice a day. That's like your go-to. Everything else that you see on the website, you can think of as noise until you're ready to add to what you're doing with Ketonat, meaning you don't necessarily have to have it. It's there to help you optimize. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later as we talk a little bit about our protein, about our electrolytes, about our new rad line and our keto kick. There's different ways to use that based upon your circumstances. But in the beginning, start with this. If you're ready for just like one little thing to add, grab a box of Mitoplex. This is our electrolyte, and it will help to balance your electrolytes, just help you stay on track, and just help you feel the best possible.
Okay, awesome. And can I drink too many ketones?
No, you cannot. Ketones are water soluble. I wouldn't necessarily recommend drinking a full box at once. You'd probably have a stomach ache. However, from a ketosis standpoint, this, once a day is awesome. Twice a day is the best. And even if you drink it 3 times a day, you're not going to overconsume it. The way that you look at it is it will stay in your body for 4 to 6 hours. Generally speaking, if you're crazy hit workout, it might be a little bit less than that. If you literally just sit on the couch all day, maybe it's a little bit more than that, but that's a good rule of thumb. So when people say, Nick, when do I drink this? Well, first thing in the morning is awesome because you start your day in that state of ketosis, meaning you have ketones in your blood to fuel your muscles, your brain, and your heart. And if it stays in your system for 4 to 7 hours, well, after lunch is a great time to drink it again. So first thing in the morning, then again in the afternoon. Now you've got your day covered where you're in that state. Some people enjoy a caffeine-free version before bed, and that literally gets you through kind of that 24 hours in that state of having ketones present for your brain and for your muscles.
Awesome. I see a great question in the chat about if there's a better time to exercise when taking it, within an hour of taking it, 30 minutes, or does it not matter?
Great question. I personally enjoy drinking it before my workout. I will drink mine about 30 minutes prior going to the gym. And I feel like that really, it gets in my system. I do an hour-long workout. My wife, she mixes it on the way to the gym and starts drinking it during her workout. And she'll actually consume probably 12 ounces. She mixes it in the first 20 minutes of her workout, and that kind of fuels her through the end of it. So there's not a right or a wrong. You just need to play with it. If you want to use it as a performance tool in the gym, then I'd probably say right before, maybe 30 minutes before. You can also look at ketones as a post-workout or an after workout because they do help just fuel your muscle and they help you feel better. We also have a protein that we'll talk about towards the end, which does help with muscle preservation, muscle gain. And this is really great to consume after a workout as well.
Awesome. And I hear a question a lot about coffee. Do I have to give up my morning coffee? And if I don't, when is it best to drink my coffee, before or after my ketones?
Great question. If you're a coffee drinker, type coffee drinker in the chat. I'm curious. In our house, I drink a lot of, I love coffee. I enjoy the flavor of it, the taste of it. My wife, she despises coffee and wants nothing to do with it. So I would say that if you're going to drink coffee, just drink it with some, look at all you coffee drinkers, love coffee. Drink it with some thought behind it. And what I mean by that is you don't want to put a bunch of sugar in your coffee. The only thing that makes coffee bad is the additives to it. So if you're going to have coffee with some heavy cream, awesome. If you're going to have some coffee with some heavy cream and some stevia or some erythritol or some sort of low glycemic sweetener, awesome. But if you're going to have some coffee cream with this chemical poop storm of stuff that's put in it, maybe it's that Coffee Mate or whatever, or maybe you're putting a little bit of coffee, a ton of milk, like skim milk, and then a few pumps of that sugary vanilla. That's not necessarily the best way to take your coffee. If you want something that tastes like a latte, we can talk about our keto cream, which I thought I had a packet of it here. Yes, it's not sitting here. Keto cream is a product that Prove It offers for those of you that love coffee. I recommend it. It's got 4 different types of collagen. It's got a B vitamin complex. It's got MCT, which is really good for the brain, and it's very ketogenic. It'll turn into ketones. And then it has good healthy fats. And it's only 130 calories, so it's well regulated. So it's not going to give you a big like insulin spike or anything like that. It's going to help to fuel you. It's going to help to not overfuel you, but it's going to power your day. And many of us swear by it.
Awesome. Yes, I love using keto cream, and it really satiates me in the morning and keeps me satiated throughout the morning. That's awesome. So with coffee, we know, well, I like mine either caffeinated or decaffeinated, but in terms of ketones, what do you suggest in terms of caffeine? Is it important to have the caffeine in my ketones? Do I need it? What does the caffeine do or not do?
Great question. In fact, if you're drinking ketones already, type what you drink more of, caffeine or caffeine free. I'm curious what our blend is on this call. There's 2 versions. You'll see all of the caffeine free ketones come in white packets. And except for our black label, all the different flavors have caffeine or caffeine free, right? So is there a right or a wrong? There is not. There is not. A lot of you drink in charge. I would say in the US, it's about 70%, 80% drink caffeine and 20% drink caffeine free. I hear, although in Europe, it's about 50-50, which is interesting because you would think Europeans are more caffeinated, but I guess not. However, do you have to have the caffeine for ketones to work? No. Chrissy, my wife, was pregnant and breastfeeding for 2.5 years while drinking ketones, and she only ever drank this version, the caffeine free. She still got the energy. She still got the smile on her face. We called it happy mommy juice, especially during that time. She still got the less hunger, less cravings, right? Just from drinking the caffeine free. So some people like caffeine. Some people are caffeine sensitive and prefer not to have caffeine. You could say that there's a little synergy with it, but it's not so much so that drinking one is better than the other. So that is my answer to that.
Awesome. Along those lines, kind of, but so if I want to drink this long term, is there anything that I should be aware of not drinking this long term, like for the rest of my life? And then also kind of on the opposite end of that, if I want to stop drinking it, what are the effects on me if I choose to no longer use it after having used ketones for a while?
Great question. You can drink this, and it's been 8 years for me, and I think the longest people drink ketones now are pushing up against 8.5. And I plan to not stop. Like ketones it's a very safe way to live. If you look at the human race, I don't know how long we've been on Earth. Let's call it millions of years. For millions of years, we lived in and out of a state of ketosis. And literally for 150 years, it's been about that. We've not been in ketosis, meaning we introduced processed foods. We introduced lots of agriculture and lots of sugar. The average person in the late 1800s ate 2 pounds of sugar a year. And now the average person eats 150 pounds of sugar. So back then, our metabolic state was we were in ketosis. We weren't in ketosis. We were burning the carbs that we ate, which was very few. Then we were burning the fat and converting the protein that we ate. So we were in and out of this state all the time. So we were designed by God to be in a state of ketosis, probably more often than we were not. So we were ketosis, not ketosis, ketosis, not ketosis. So does our body thrive in that state? Yes. The reason I love Previt's ketones is they're bioidentical and they're naturally fermented. So if you want the highest quality and the same ketone that your body actually breaks down fat into, this is what you want to drink. To answer your second question, what happens when you stop? I love that question because that is a common theme in the diet world, right? Thankfully, we're not a diet. This drink is diet independent. You don't have to eat keto to drink ketones. It's a common misconception. In fact, I would say 70% of those who drink ketones are not doing a ketogenic diet, but because they drink ketones, they eat a more carb conscious lifestyle, meaning they're just skipping the junk. They're eating a lot better protein, veggies, and good healthy fats. But when you drink keto nat, you're fueling muscle, you're fueling your brain, you're fueling your heart. When you fuel those things, you create a better metabolic state. When you create a better metabolic state, what you end up doing is like you're leveling up your life. So if you level up, you drink ketones, and then you stop, you're in a better metabolic state than you started. So the cool thing is it's not just going to snap back. Now, if you go back and completely stop all the great habits that you just formed and start eating junk again, well, you're probably going to slowly start moving back down that hill. But guess what? You climbed up and you got better. The difference with most diets and most programs out there is they will cause one thing: weight loss. Weight loss. They will cause you to just reduce your relationship with gravity so that you are smaller, not caring about your metabolic state, which means you usually lose a lot of this, which means your metabolic rate lowers. And if that's the case, when you start eating normal again, guess what happens? You gain all the weight back. The opposite is true with ketones. Even if you started to quote unquote just eat the standard American diet, you're actually going to have less of an impact in that because of a number of different factors that you have improved through drinking ketones.
Awesome. So if I continue to drink ketones, but we were created in a state where we're going back and forth in between ketosis, if we are not drinking ketones, like from our humanity, does keep drinking ketones affect whether or not my body will produce ketones or how well it produces ketones?
Great question. I get that a lot. And you don't have to worry that if you drink this, now you won't actually produce your own. I know there's a lot of people that maybe are doing the ketogenic diet, or maybe they've watched some doctors on YouTube that say, well, you can't drink that because if you drink that, then you'll never actually burn your own fat. That's just not a full understanding of what this is. I want you to think of this as you're drinking it as a fuel source for your body. I call it jet fuel for my engine. My engine's my body. I'm fueling it with the best quality fuel possible. So think of this as energy. Don't think of this as some supplement that's just going to cause me to go thermogenic and all of a sudden magically be, 50 pounds lighter. What this does is because it fuels my brain and it fuels my muscles and it stabilizes my blood sugar levels, I am less hungry. If I'm less hungry, I eat better. If my blood sugar is more stable, I produce less insulin. So I don't store fat as much. I can be in a release state. Also, something that happens when you have ketones present is you build more pathways to utilize them. And as you have more and more of those pathways, your body's more efficient at using ketones. And guess what happens? Your body says, hey, I can produce more. So if you were to drink like 4 or 5 of these at once, you probably have enough in your system where your body's like, yeah, I'm good. Don't need more ketones. But the reality is a pack of ketones gives you a therapeutic amount, not an overabundance. So you will still have a need to produce your own.
Wow, that's amazing. I remember something that's always stuck with me is Nick and I's mom, who's 70, has also been drinking ketones for 8 years. And I've asked her that question before of, will she ever stop drinking ketones? And her answer surprised me a little bit. And it also makes sense. But her answer was, no way. Why would I ever stop drinking ketones? And I was a little shocked at her how strong she was about that. And she said, why would I stop drinking something that makes me feel so good and show up in my life the way that I want to show up with my kids, my grandkids, and myself, energy and mental clarity the way that I did. So it's great to watch our parents age backwards and feel. My dad's 73, he feels like he's 51, and people who are 51 ask him why he's keeping up with them on the tennis court at that age. So I love that this is something that we can drink just like coffee for the rest of our lives if we want to, and get that. Nick, can you, before we move away from keto nat and the ketones, can you talk about about the sodium? There's a question in the chat about the sodium in the powdered version of keto nat, and then just the difference between the powder and the ampules.
Yes. So there is a little bit of sodium in here. I don't want you to confuse this with table salt. For years, sodium has been demonized because of McDonald's. When you combine copious amounts of table salt with French fries and Big Macs, it causes all sorts of health issues. But the question is it the salt causing that or all the other junk that they ate? So the interesting thing is when you actually look at sodium alone, it has a lot of great value. If you think about electrolytes or Gatorade, it replenishes electrolytes. If I'm out sweating, working out, I need more minerals so that I can stay balanced. Well, if you're drinking ketones or if you're eating better, you're actually not bloating or retaining as much. That means there's a little bit of a diuretic effect going on, which means if you have more minerals, you actually feel better. So if you've ever had headaches, if you've ever felt lethargic, if you've ever had leg cramps, you might be lower in minerals. So the benefit of the sodium in here is to help balance that. And a lot of times prior to us having our Mitoplex, which is the electrolyte I recommend just pairing with ketones, I would have people add a pinch of pink Himalayan salt to their water just to help with that. Now we have a great product that they can use, but that's how I was not necessarily, oh my gosh, it's got sodium in it. It was, yes, it does for a great reason. We also have another delivery method of ketones. It's called our ampule ketones. They're really great. They're in a little ampule that you just still mix with ice and water and drink it. They're a little bit more sour in flavor. It's a slightly different ketone molecule in that it's not bound to the minerals. So the mineral load is very small and there is no sodium in it. So it is designed for those who, for some reason, whether it's doctor's orders or just the way their body is, can't handle that mineral load. That is definitely a great option. And they still work the same way. They give you a state of ketosis and they still fuel your brain and fuel your muscles and all that.
Yes, wonderful. So does it matter? Is one better than the other then in between the liquid ketones and the powder?
Great question. They're just different, right? If you've not tried the ampules, try them. Some people like swear by them. It's all they drink now. Personally, I enjoy a combination. I usually have the ampules maybe 3 to 4 times a week. And then I'll drink Keto Nat every single day. So it's a little bit different. They have different flavors. They're a little more tart. But from a benefit or result standpoint, you might notice a slight difference, but you also might not. And at the end of the day, they're still giving you the same outcome.
Awesome. And before I just had another question jump in the chat that is great. So before we move to some of the support products, is there any reason or medical conditions to not drink ketones or age range?
Great question. If you are sick and have some health challenges that need to get addressed, go work with your doctor. If you're concerned, if you're on copious amounts of medication and you're not necessarily stable, take a pack with you or take a picture of the pack, bring it to your doctor and say, Doc, I want to drink this, and work with them. What I always recommend is if somebody does have health issues, that they work with their doctor regardless. Why? Because if you become better, more healthy, and you're taking medicine that's designed to help you stay stable, but now you're getting healthier, all of a sudden your medicine is making you sick. So you gotta just work with your healthcare provider, ask them any questions that you have. But I will say, like, if you can eat food, drink drinks, there's no contraindications. There's not something negative that's going to happen. But of course, make sure you're talking with your physician or whoever you're working with.
Awesome. Thank you. And so with Mitoplex, you have showed it a couple of times to us. Can you talk about some of the other ingredients that make that an upgraded electrolyte for us?
Absolutely. So this is our electrolyte. I recommend it. If you don't have a box, get a box, drink it daily if you can. It's amazing. We have lemon, lime, and orange. My favorite is the orange one. This is an amazing electrolyte. I already talked about the minerals that are in it, but in addition to those, it has vitamin D3, which most people are deficient in. It also has a little bit of creatine, which is a lot of people associate with muscles, but it's actually really good for the brain. And it has an ingredient called Mito2PQ, which is a fancy ingredient that helps with mitochondrial production and mitochondrial biogenesis. I had to go to school for a minute to learn how to say that. But what's neat is the powerhouse of your cells, as you remember from biology class, is your mitochondria. If you can have more mitochondria, guess what? You have more energy. If they can be larger, guess what? They're producing more energy. So it's a good thing. So you combine this with ketones and you're just like, you're creating the best environment possible to be ready to go.
Awesome. I also, more orange is my favorite as well. So, but the lime and the lemon, you can also mix your Mitoplex with your ketones, and you can make new flavors. So you can have, we already have like 20 flavors, but now you can have multiple times 3 of that of flavors by mixing them with your ketones. Can you tell us about the Keto Pro and how to utilize it and what it's for, what it does?
Awesome. So this is the keto protein. It comes in a handful of different flavors. There's 4 that are available all the time. And then we always have some seasonal flavors. I love the dark chocolate. It's my favorite. The neat thing with this protein, it's not just your average protein shake that you can get at Costco, which usually is filled with stuff that you don't want to necessarily put in your body. This is protein combined with other things. So I want you to think most of the time when you drink a 25-gram, 30-gram protein shake, your body's trying to do everything with protein. But when you drink this, you might look at it and say, there's only 6 grams of protein, Nick. How is my body going to do anything with that? That's not very much. Well, this is combined with branched chain amino acids. It's got MCT, and it's got ketones, and it's got protein. So your body's able to take the ketones, use it in the cells for just pure energy. It's able to take the MCT, convert that kind of long term into more energy, power the brain with it. The liver can convert it to ketones. And then at the same time, it's now taking the protein and the branched chain amino acids, combining them together and helping to create protein synthesis. So this is a great product for post-workout. It's great throughout the day. I did see a question from Todd about drinking a protein shake at some point during the day. Any recommendations of when to take? I love this after lunch, or not after lunch. I love this after I work out. It's like my post-workout recovery delicious drink. I also love this if I'm feeling snacky in the middle of the day. If it's 3 o'clock and I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do? And I open up the pantry. I'm like, wait, let me go grab one of my protein shakes. I like mixing it with almond milk or coconut almond milk that's not sweetened. I also, if you ask my wife, she does not like that. She likes it with water and then a splash of heavy cream. The last time that I enjoy drinking this is actually before bed as a dessert. And with the fun flavors that we have, it makes for a great milkshake if you blend it up, keeps you full, and it's great to fuel your brain as you sleep. A little bit of that MCT overnight can actually keep your brain going. And instead of your brain trying to wake you up because you're not fueling it well enough, this actually helps keep you asleep.
Awesome. 2 questions with the Pro. Can I replace a meal with it?
Great question. It's not designed to keep you from eating food. A lot of meal replacements out there, they're designed to create starvation so that you lose weight, and you will lose weight if you don't eat. Well, what we want to do is fuel your muscle. So I would look at this and even ketones as creating meal flexibility. Right? So if you're intermittent fasting, you can skip breakfast, you can drink your ketones in the morning, you can drink this right at lunchtime, but then eat some sort of great quality protein in addition to that, or eat some sort of, salad in addition to that. At dinner time, if you can't have a great dinner, well, you know what? Start your intermittent fast at night, drink this as dinner, and then just eat breakfast in the morning. Have some eggs and some avocado, or some eggs and some sausage. Just keep it simple and be conscious about it.
So can it replace a keto nat? Like, can I use it instead of keto nat?
Great question. If you're doing 1 keto nat a day and you want to do 1 protein a day, awesome. Unless you have maybe challenges with keto nat for whatever reason, in that situation, sure, do the protein instead, but I wouldn't do the protein instead of the nat. So if you want to do 2 nats a day and add in a protein sometime, awesome. If you do want to do 1 nat and then add the protein in as your afternoon snack, I think that's fantastic too.
Okay. So are there more ketones in the nat versus protein, or is
yes, the keto nat, I don't know that exactly like what the ratio of ketones is. However, there's probably 2, 3, 4 times as many actual ketones in the keto nat as there is the protein. The protein, it's like a combination of those 4 ingredients that's giving you the benefit. Whereas keto nat, the main outcome is to get you into a therapeutic state of ketosis.
Awesome. Can you talk about the keto? So the other products that have ketones in them that are Chill and our Kick, as well as Keto Up and the Rad line. So that's a lot at once, but whichever one you have in front of you.
I mean, we'll go through them all real fast here. So everything else that we have that has ketones in it is designed to elevate your ketone levels or keep your ketone levels up. So if you think about it, drink keto nat in the morning, you've raised your levels, and now throughout the day, it's like, hey, it'd be nice to just keep those steady and keep them going. So we have some different options based upon your preference, based upon what you're doing. So Keto Up is probably the most popular. It's a canned, ready to drink ketones. It's carbonated. They're delicious. They are caffeinated. And it's really meant to combat Red Bull, Monster, NOS, you fill in the blank of your energy drink of choice. This is healthy. This is clean. This is ketones. Probably it's a little bit smaller quantity of ketones than keto nat, but it's a way to keep your levels going throughout the day. If you have one of them, awesome. If you have 2 of them, okay, you're enjoying yourself. Now, the Keto Kick does the same thing, although in here you also have what are called nootropics, which are really good for the brain. So if you're somebody that's like, man, I want brain health, have your Keto Kick each day. Why? It's like lubricating the system of your brain. It's a fancy way of saying it. You listen to some of the doctors talk about all the things in here, you're like, holy smokes. Dustin Schaefer, who often speaks on these, showed me the jars of pills that he used to take to get what you have in here. So this is like his favorite product. He doesn't go a day without it. Prior to Radline, which I don't have one in front of me here, Radline is a new product. I would take this before my workout or during my workout as my pre-workout, just because it has a little caffeine and it has ketones. Now, Radline is our performance product, and it is designed for you to drink and then go do something that requires performance. Maybe that's going to the gym. Maybe it's doing something super important at work. Maybe you just need to feel jazzed and ready to go. Radline is a great option. Now, the other version of the Keto Kick is right here. It's called Neuro Chill. This one is designed as like before you go to sleep. It's designed to chill you out. It's not going to make you, it doesn't have like melatonin in it or anything that's going to cause you to just like get drowsy all of a sudden. However, it's getting close to bedtime here. I'm going to have some. It just helps you to mellow out. There's ingredients in there that just help with being relaxed. And I mean, those who drink this before bed swear by how well it helps their sleep.
Yes, my husband drinks that every night, and his sleep score is improving on his watch, which is really exciting. All right. So in a nutshell, maybe, I don't know if this is a nutshell question, but if someone wants to lose fat, what's a good protocol that you can recommend? And if they want to gain muscle, what's a good protocol that you can recommend?
Great question. If you're somebody that's ready for fat loss, I'm going to recommend a couple things. One, I'm going to recommend that you just sign up for our Summer Slim Down. It's our program, and we're going to be probably doing it. It's going to be called the Fall into Ketosis, I don't know, go on vacation in January plan or whatever we call it. It's going to happen. But basically what it is you drinking ketones on a daily basis, right? I'm going to give you a simple protocol to follow. Wake up. If you're going to have coffee, don't put sugar in it. Then drink your ketones. Then wait to eat until you're hungry. It's called intermittent fasting. When you do eat, just be carb conscious, right? Just be carb conscious. Don't focus on a crazy diet. But if you know that like excess carbohydrates and sugar is not as that causes you to fuel fat, and protein, veggies, good healthy fats fuel muscle, fuel your muscle. Okay. And then have ketones again in the afternoon or our protein, and then eat a carb conscious dinner. And then just don't snack into the night. If you need a snack, have some Keto Pro. That's the basic framework for fat loss. If somebody follows that and they're consistent in it, it's going to work. Now, in order to accelerate it, in order to make sure that you're, really getting there, what I'm going to recommend is our Summer Slim Down program, which is our iFast Accelerator Kit. This is a 5-day program. It uses all the products that we just talked about. The only additional one that we haven't talked about is our Signal OS, which helps with DNA repair. It's a capsule that you take in the morning and at night. It gives you 5 days worth of products to follow. and it really helps you dial in intermittent fasting. And using this along with that timed eating, it's not a 5-day fast. You get to eat at least 2 times during each day. And we want you to consume calories. We just want you to be conscious in the process. This is powerful. And then you're going to combine it in the summer slim down with our Keto Reboot. And our Keto Reboot is a 60-hour program. Christina mentioned it in the beginning that mimics fasting. And what you do during this is just drink all the products in here. It's essentially protein, it's ketones, it's the ampules, it's electrolytes. And you're doing that like literally you have 5 different things to drink each day, which is crazy. So you have plenty to consume. And you're fueling your muscles, your brain, and your body while you're leaning out, allowing your body just to go like this and let go. So it's absolutely incredible. And to me, the recipe for significant fat loss. In fact, we're having a call just to talk about stories and the impact that this has had on people from a fat loss standpoint very soon. That's what I recommend. And if you're looking to gain muscle, here's the funny thing is you're going to do the exact same thing, except you're going to focus a little bit more on lifting heavy things, going to the gym. And then because of that, maybe you're going to use our RAD line, right, to go have better performance in the gym. And maybe you're going to up the level of intake of our protein and just increase your consumption of this. And you're just going to be more conscious of protein and that kind of thing while you're doing this.
Wow. So as to wrap us up and we want to protect your time and respect of your time, so we've heard about how all these products help us do those things, and then about my mom, Nick's mom, how she's aged well, my parents have aged well. How do we utilize this in a way that helps us to increase our health span over time versus just our lifespan, and especially like our brains?
Yeah. Fueling the brain is probably one of the most important things that we can do, no matter what age, right? If you're over the age of 30 and you're on the Zoom, your brain is in a state where it's like, hey, I'm not getting the fuel I got when I was 20. So if you're 50, it's even more challenged. If you just think of it, the more that you age, the more challenged your brain is to uptake glucose, which is your primary fuel source. So number one is just drink ketones. Like my mother said to Christina, like, I will never go a day without this. But number two, I would recommend 3 specific things that we have, actually 4, just to give your brain even more. So Keto Kick, like I mentioned, has a lot of different things that are super healthy and powerful for the brain. Then the products that have MCT in them are also going to be good for your brain. We have an MCT 143, which is specifically formulated by Dr. Mary Newport. It's what she gave her husband who had early onset Alzheimer's. So that's something, if you just take a teaspoon of that a day or one of the ampules of that a day, like you are protecting your brain. You're doing amazing things for your brain. The other way that you can get that, though, is through our keto cream. You can look at that as you're drinking your coffee. This is my brain coffee. You can also, the MCT in the protein is a good option for that. So as far as fueling your brain, aging well, I'm going to recommend those things. And then finally, our capsules, the Signal OS AM and PM, are really good just for DNA repair and longevity. So we do sell these in a box of 30, which if you get your hands on that and just take it consistently, it's the only ingredient out there that's been like clinically proven to lengthen telomeres, which is essentially repairing your DNA, making you younger.
Wow. That's remarkable. And one thing that I think that has been really neat to watch over the years is I see people, when I see pictures, even if I see pictures where I see fat loss happening or muscle gain happening, I see a different light come out of behind people's eyes. Like there's a different vibrancy that comes out of people as they have been drinking our products. And I think that's due to what Nick's been talking about all of the health that's happening within our bodies starts to grow and glow and show up and show out from your body. So thank you, Nick, for answering all those questions. If you guys have any last question in the next 10 seconds, put it in the chat and we'll answer that.
One thing that I didn't get to discuss is how do you optimize your purchasing of ketones? And if you guys are already ordering them, but you're not yet what we call a VIP customer, I want to encourage you to set that up. And what that means is just having an active smart chip. And any of the products that I mentioned, you can get on a monthly subscription, and that will save you 15% off of all of the like retail price of the products. And then once that smart chips run for 3 months, you'll actually get into our 25% tier. So literally saving 25% on every product that you order. And that gives you access as a VIP to all of the seasonal flavors and all of the seasonal fun. So anything that's new that comes out, like the Rad line that just came out, the flavors of Keto Up, those are available just to our VIP customers. So you're going to want to have access to that. And then another benefit is anytime you order, you earn points. So if you just ordered, let's say our challenge kit, you earned 100 points. Now you get to apply those towards your smart chip or towards your next order, which is super fun. It saves you a bunch of money. And you actually get codes to share with your friends. So you get 3 $20 off codes when you start, which will help your friends earn $20 off of their product. And also you'll earn 200 points, which is $20 off of your next order. So it's a really cool customer rewards program, kind of like Delta Sky Miles or Bonvoy, like Marriott points. You get to start collecting those points and then using them for fun discounts on your products. So if you're not yet a member of that, make sure to take advantage of it. And one of the neat things is you can always change it. It's flexible. Let's say you just ordered 8 different flavors of ketones. You're like, I have too many ketones. Well, guess what? You can put a box of Keto Kick on it, or you can put the box of Mitoplex I was just talking about on it, or you can put some of the Keto Up. And that just gives you some flexibility and some fun to be part of our VIP program.
Awesome. A couple of last things that came through the chat are kidneys, safety for kidneys, as well as type 2 diabetes.
So as far as type 2, again, these aren't going to cause issues. However, if you're not controlled, if you're not in a healthy state, go get that taken care of. And at the same time, bring ketones with you to your doctor. If you're concerned, go work with the doctor. As far as kidneys go, again, it's probably, if you have issues with your kidneys and you're on crazy stuff for them, I'd probably go work with your doctor before taking them. But ketones themselves, it's not like people are drinking this and then all of a sudden they're having kidney issues. If anything, they're drinking this and they're living their best life. But again, if you have any medical type questions, work with your medical practitioner.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. Thanks for your time and answering all these questions and telling us all of the information behind all the products, how they work, how to best utilize them together. I love that Prove It creates products that are synergistically working together on purpose. So I love that we always Prove It always makes everything very scientifically sound, so that whatever we're putting in our bodies is the optimal piece. And then when we combine them with each other, we're doing even more for our bodies, which is amazing for our health. Wonderful. Thank you all for being here. If you have any further questions, definitely reach out to the person that connected you to this or to ketones in general, and keep loving your ketones and keep being consistent with them and adding products that will support you in whatever your goals are. And have a wonderful night. Have a good night.